You ever realize how silence says everything you could never put into words? It's wild, really, how people think the hardest part is saying goodbye. But it's not. It's the silence that follows, the kind where you don't even try to explain yourself anymore. They thought you'd fight for them one last time, send that long message, maybe call late at night just to pour your heart out so they could feel important again. They thought you'd beg, argue, explain your side just to prove how much you cared. But you didn't. You just stopped. No big speech, no emotional meltdown, no paragraphs that they would ignore anyway. Just silence. And that silence isn't weakness. It's not you giving up. It's you choosing yourself in the quietest, strongest way possible. Because it takes everything in you to hold back words you know they'll never understand. To stop trying to prove your worth to someone who never saw it. To walk away without explaining every part of your heart that they mistreated. They don't get how heavy that silence is. How it's built from all the times you tried to fix things. All the times you forgave what hurt you. All the times you gave them another chance they didn't deserve. They think silence is passive. But it's not. It's powerful. It forces them to sit with themselves, to feel the emptiness of your absence, to face what they did without the comfort of your words softening the truth. It makes them question themselves in the quiet they weren't ready for. Because when you finally go quiet, that's when they realize you were the only one holding it all together. And without your voice, there's nothing left for them to control. Nothing left for them to drain. Just the loud truth of your silence speaking everything you could never say. There's something different about the moment you stop explaining yourself. Something that shifts the entire energy in the room, in the connection, in the way they see you. You spent so long trying to be understood, repeating your heart in different ways, hoping they would finally get it. You tried to prove your loyalty, your intentions, your worth, your love, thinking if you just explained it the right way, they would finally understand you, appreciate you, value you the way you deserved. But they didn't. They shrugged it off, took your words for granted, ignored your tears, and acted like you were just being dramatic, needy, too much. They thought you would always keep explaining, always keep giving them another chance to get it right, to get you right. But then came the moment when you went quiet, and you stopped explaining, because you had nothing left to say, but because you finally realized you were done saying the same things to someone who was never truly listening. And that silence, it doesn't give them a target, nothing for them to fight against, nothing for them to twist into another argument, nothing for them to use to keep you emotionally trapped. It just leaves them alone with themselves, and in that silence, their mind starts to race in a way your words never could. They start questioning themselves, wondering what they did wrong, asking themselves if they went too far this time, if you're really gone for good, if you finally woke up to who they really were. They thought you would always fight to be understood, but now you've stopped, and it forces them to reflect, to look at their own actions without the comfort of your explanations to soften the truth. They realize you're not seeking their validation anymore, and that realization is louder than any words you could have said, proving that when you stop explaining yourself, that's when they finally start understanding the depth of what they lost. Silence feels like rejection in a way words never could, and the craziest part is you weren't even trying to reject them. You weren't trying to make a statement or get revenge or prove a point. You were just tired. Tired of explaining, tired of begging to be seen, tired of having your feelings dismissed like they didn't matter, tired of giving your energy to someone who couldn't match it. So you went quiet, and in that quiet, they felt something they weren't ready to feel. They felt small, ignored, irrelevant. They felt the weight of your absence in a room you once filled with your love, your laughter, your effort. You didn't have to say, "You're not worth my energy anymore." Your silence screamed it, because people can handle anger, yelling, tears, even accusations. But silence makes them feel invisible, and for someone who is so used to your constant attention, your constant reassurance, your constant attempts to fix things, that silence is brutal. It's a mirror they can't look away from, showing them exactly who they are without your light softening their flaws. The truth is, you weren't rejecting them, you were finally choosing yourself. And that choice echoed in every moment you didn't call, every text you didn't send, every late night you spent healing instead of explaining yourself again. They don't realize it yet, but your silence is the moment they lost you, truly lost you, because it's the moment you decided your peace was more important than their comfort. It's the moment you stopped letting them drain you, stopped letting them pull you back into cycles of emotional chaos, stopped letting them believe they could treat you any way they wanted and you'd still be there. Your silence isn't empty, it's a boundary they can't cross, and it hurts them more than any words ever could, not because you're cruel, but because you finally decided you were worth more than the noise. They expected you to break, to slip back into old patterns, to call them late at night just to hear their voice, to send a long message explaining how much you still care, how much you're hurting, how much you miss them. They expected you to post something sad, just so they could feel the comfort of knowing you're still holding on, still waiting, still hoping they will come back around and fix what they broke. They thought you would fold because you always did. Before, because your love was so big, it kept you apologizing for things you didn't even do, kept you holding on to someone who didn't know how to hold you. But you didn't break this time. You didn't send the message. You didn't show up begging for a conversation or closure that would have only reopened your wounds. You didn't post sad quotes hoping they would notice, hoping they would care, hoping they would reach out and say they miss you too. You stayed silent, and that silence is messing with them in ways you'll never fully see. Because the version of you they knew, the one who always forgave, always checked in, always fought to keep the connection alive, is gone. And in its place is this quiet, unshakable strength that doesn't need them to see your worth for you to know it yourself. They expected tears, emotional breakdowns, long phone calls filled with apologies and second chances, but you chose peace instead. And nothing is louder than peace to someone who lives off chaos. It's confusing for them, seeing you stand in your power, seeing you protect your energy, seeing you love yourself enough to walk away without the dramatic exit. They thought they'd get to feed their ego one last time. They don't know what to do with your silence, because it shows them you don't need them, that you are capable of letting go, that you won't fight for a place in someone's life who doesn't know how to value your presence. Your silence is strength, and that strength is a reality they can't handle because it proves they don't have the power over you they thought they did. You know what's really getting to them. It's not just the silence you left behind. It's the way you're glowing in that silence. They expected you to crumble, to spend your nights scrolling through old messages, to break down and reach out when you couldn't handle the loneliness. They thought you would fall apart without them, because they wanted to believe they were the reason you felt alive, the reason you smiled, the reason you felt worthy. But you didn't fall apart. You got better. You started pouring your energy back into yourself, the energy you used to waste trying to fix someone who didn't want to be fixed, trying to love someone who didn't know how to receive it. You started waking up with peace instead of anxiety, started laughing again with people who actually appreciate your presence, started chasing your dreams instead of chasing someone who never saw your worth. You started finding pieces of yourself that you forgot existed because you were too busy trying to be enough for someone who couldn't even be enough for themselves. And now, they're watching, even if you don't see it. They're watching you take your power back, watching you rebuild yourself, watching you create a life that doesn't revolve around them, and it's killing them inside because they never thought you'd actually be okay without them. They're realizing that all that love, effort, and light you poured into them is now being poured back into you. And it's making you stronger, happier. They're realizing they didn't just lose your attention, they lost someone who would have built a future with them, someone who would have loved them through every flaw, every dark day, every mistake. And now, they have to watch that future from the outside, watch you glow without them, watch you grow into a version of yourself that no longer needs their validation, no longer needs their presence, no longer needs their love to feel complete. Your silence isn't just silence. It's proof that you're moving on, that you're healing, that you're choosing yourself fully, and that's something they can't handle because it shows them exactly what they lost.